Welcome to the Government News Brief for Wednesday, January 6, 2016. In the news, better health care coming for Essequibo Islands residents, radio and television reach to be expanded, and more aggressive actions to be taken to tackle trafficking in persons. With these and other stories, I am Azim Khan. The cries of Leg 1 and Wakenham residents for better health care will soon be realized as government seeks to address problems affecting health institutions in these areas. Here are the details.
During a visit to the Essequibo Islands of Leg 1 and Wakenham Tuesday, public health officials pledged their commitment to addressing all necessary concerns of both the staff and patients at the health facilities. Director of Regional Health Services Kay Shako stands firmly to this promise as she pointed out that it is the government's priority to ensure all Guyanese enjoy the best quality health care.
I know that there are many challenges within the various regions, but what I hope to do together with the team that I'm working with at the ministry is to look at health system strengthening. There will definitely be a shift in healthcare if we are to have equitable and equity in healthcare. Because we don't want some areas of Guyana, having better treatment than the other areas. And as a matter of fact, the focus this year for regional health services is to look into those areas or into those regions that lack adequate health care and see how we can upscale them. Upscale them in terms of sending doctors, specialists, right? And we're not only sending them there, but then we will also upgrade the facilities there to meet their qualifications or expectations, including accommodation.
During the visit, Minister within the Ministry of Public Health, Dr. Karen Commons, and her team inspected the health facilities and interacted with the staff. In addition, the visiting officials addressed concerns of the staff and pledged to take immediate actions to correct them. For this Government News Brief, Shanaz Ulu reporting.
Government through the Ministry of Social Protection and other agencies working collaboratively will up the ante in its efforts to stamp out human trafficking in Guyana. Seneca Thorne reports.
The negative impacts of human trafficking are well known. The coalition government will take proactive measures to address trafficking in persons, as it will put a system in place that will aim at eradicating this scourge countrywide. Through collaboration with a non-governmental organization, the Ministry of Social Protection was able to secure comfortable living quarters for TIP victims. The TIP unit of the ministry was also restructured to make it more efficient.
We're going to ensure that unit is peopled with the right skills, and also to work with the Guyana Police Force. Myself and the Commissioner, we've already had these discussions to ensure that together, because a lot depends on the police too, that together we can begin to tackle this issue from a holistic point.
The intention is to ensure that both the masterminds behind TIP and those who conspire with them are both brought to justice.
There is going to be, let me say, an extended focus, a greater focus in this particular area of trafficking, because I think people have to look at it as though, it's a one-off something. And so we're going to have a continued approach in terms of seeking and finding those perpetrators and bringing them before the courts to ensure that we have justice and the victims have justice. And more than that, now is to ensure that we have a plan for each victim, that we can be able to help them to move forward with their lives.
Further, the government announced its plan to reconvene the meeting of the TIP Ministerial Task Force this year. The task force will be chaired by Vice President and Minister of Public Security, Kemet Ramjatan. He will be joined by ministers from the Ministry of Social Protection, Ministry of Legal Affairs, and the Ministry of Indigenous Peoples Affairs and Minister of Foreign Affairs. One of the major priorities of the task force will be to formulate an action plan for the period 2016 to 2017 to tackle human trafficking.
In 2016, Guyanese can see an expansion of the radio and television reach as the government intends to ensure the establishment of more radio and television stations countrywide. This assurance was given by Prime Minister Moses Nagamutu, who holds government responsibility for public information. Here are the details.
Specific emphasis will be placed on the interior communities, with emphasis on the far-flung Rupununi in Region 9 and the Northwest District Region 1. While Bina Hill in Region 9 has Radio Payamak, the region has no TV station. Region 1 has neither, and the expansion will serve to connect the interior areas to other parts of the country.
We could use the radio and television as a force not only to unite and inform people, but to harmonize our country so that everyone feel that they are part and parcel of the national thrust, of the national effort, the national ethos, the national drift, and that we promote a sense of national commitment in all parts of Guyana.
Meanwhile, Prime Minister Nagamutu, who has government responsibility for the public information sector, has assured that the administration will not interfere with editorial policies of the free media. The Prime Minister explained to Gina in a recent interview that Guyanese have a right to know what the government is doing, since most of what it invariably does is done with taxpayers' money.
I believe that they have a function to inform what is happening, but at the same time, not to shut out what is happening in other sections of the society, not to have censored news or views, or not to black out any views, because we want to encourage the balanced coverage.
The Prime Minister has committed his government's actions to ensure that the media remains free by facilitating the requisite regulatory framework. In its manifesto, the APNU Plus AFC coalition had pledged to guarantee the independence of the media, freedom of access to information, the liberalization of broadcasting, and the removal of barriers to access to the state media. With this government news brief, I'm Shanta Goberdan reporting.
Government is examining the possibilities of increasing the environmental bond in the mining sector to cover cost of land reclamation in interior locations. Details in this report.
The environmental bond, which is paid or lodged with the Ghana Geology Mines Commission by miners, has been described as a joke. According to Minister of Natural Resources Raphael Trotman, the bond, which is a requirement for all mining operations, is not grounded in reality.
Miners mine and they move on. The rivers get polluted, there are gaping holes left in the land, and there's an environmental bond of just $100,000, which we feel is a joke. So we will be reviewing that to ensure that miners pay a bond that is more realistic.
Minister Trotman added that future bonds will vary and it will be commensurate with the scope of the actual mining operations.
So if you don't fulfill your duties of restoring that bond that you left, will be used to take care of the management.
This will be replanting and so on.
Exactly. And then, of course, we want to make sure that mining is not done in a capricious, willy-nilly manner wherever you want to go. We're going to have zoned areas where the mining takes place.
The minister, who was recently joined by his colleague minister within the ministry, Simona Brooms, stated that the coalition government's intention of reorganizing the sector and managing its affairs in a more efficient and transparent manner is a job which will be ongoing.
As the new administration continues to press its foreign policy agenda on the international sphere, efforts are beginning to bear fruit. Here are the details.
As the coalition government continues to press its foreign policy agenda, Guyanese will soon see the fruit of their labor. These come in the form but are not limited to 2 programs that will address internal issues. One program comes as a result of better partnership with the European Union and will see monies invested to strengthen the country's public security apparatus and the justice system.
Some of those programs are in train. They're not necessarily long time lags in them. In the case of the European Union and the assistance from the European Union, one would expect that to be delivered in the first quarter of the year. This is the provision of funds, a lot of which is funds on the balance of payments front. There have been extensive discussions with the Indian government. Many of those projects started prior to May of 2015, but in the discussions between ourselves, the relevant ministries, and especially the Ministry of Finance, we expect that a line of credit somewhere in the region of $50 million will be made available to Guyana.
The other program comes as a result of improved relations with Japan and eyes a project that will address the scourge of flooding in Georgetown.
The case of the project for the drainage of Georgetown, when you say how soon they will start, I'll say to you that the physical work is perhaps the last stage, because they have now to devise plans, draw up plans, integrate the existing ones before construction is started.
For 2016, the administration is eyeing the strengthening of diplomatic relations with neighbors and improving the quality of representation on the international sphere.
That has brought us to the end of the government news brief for Wednesday, January 6, 2016. Look out for us on Facebook and YouTube. We leave you with our photograph of the day. Send us yours.